Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Ted, hanging out with the Nerdarchy crew.
Dave.
Ryan.
Nate.
And today we have a Game Master tips. How do you keep over a long game fighting interesting? So what do you guys think?
Well, it's a really good question, because eventually it is just like a slogfest of combat after combat, especially if you're not using terrain features, if you're not using interesting hazards, if the players nor the DM use different tactics.
Alternative goals is like maybe you have to protect somebody and that's the main thing you want to do, or get them somewhere. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, I would say over the long haul, if you're looking at the monster's manual and you say, oh, this is how much damage it does, this is its attacks, and that's what you fixate most upon, it's going to be a boring fight after 13 levels of that.
Basically, make every single encounter that you have planned, because like most sessions, you're only going to have like 2 to 4 combat encounters in a given night.
Usually, yeah.
Usually. I mean, that's going to be your average. But make every single one of those have a unique feature to it. Like a different sort of thing. Some might be the straight up 20 by 40 room, like that might be one of your encounters, but the other one's going to feature a terrain or a trap or a hazard or, some sort of one person starting with an advantage.
Could even just be, the King of the Hill type deal where they're fighting their way up a dais, that, or a ziggurat, and the monsters that holds the top, and you got to take it.
Right.
There's tons of different ways, if it's a wilderness encounter, have terrain, ravines,
distance.
rivers.
Sometimes distance, because most encounters because most of them you're rounding a corner, there's the monster. Give something where there's like 600 feet between you and the foe. So this way, who's going to shine like your missilers, either your longbowman or, somebody took spell sniper, or your friggin' warlock, that has like the long ranged, Eldritch Spear. Like, when they're being able to ping people from like 600 feet away, and like the factions are getting ready to close, that's another way to do it. Add something.
Or being hunted or stalked by a monster that is even further away when you first notice it, and it keeps like disappearing and reappearing. Not in the magical sense, just in the sense that it's moving from cover
breaking
to cover.
line of sight.
Yeah.
Just in my last session, I had they stalked up on a series of goblins. I've got them fighting a lot of goblins, so I had to vary it up. So they snuck up on a whole bunch of them, and they took them out. They had a really brutal fight with some armored zombie dwarves, and then they had a chase where they were being chased. They had to basically run out of a hold that was filled with them, and they pretty much down the mountain, like Lord of the Rings style, run the hell away. Nice. And so they had that variety of combat. So they were fighting this pretty much the same thing or similar foes, kind of all thematic together, but they had that breakup, and they also had a good amount of RP in it, in between the characters, and they also had that like variety rather than just, here you come upon some goblins, you fight them.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's
goblins, you fight them.
Maybe it's a fight on like a swaying bridge, like a rope bridge, that like they're making balance checks.
Yeah,
or
features.
Maybe, yeah,
a good way, yeah.
Or maybe like they have enough range on the thing that like, so the guys, the enemies are running at them. They're at the rope bridge. Well, they're like sawing the rope bridge. So like the fight actually doesn't happen because the party's gonna cut the rope bridge, and like most of those guys are just gonna fall off, and they're gonna pick off the guys that happen to hold onto the bridge. So like, yeah, you've really shortened that encounter, but it was interesting, and I'm sure your players had fun doing it when you describe the descending of these guys that are going off the side of the ravine.
Or maybe they're in the center of the bridge and they totally Indiana Jones it.
Right, yeah. Maybe it happens to them. Exactly.
Yeah. With that, you guys can let us know what you think. Give your suggestions below in the comments. Like, share, subscribe.
You can check us out on nerdarchy.com.
Or over at Facebook.
You can also join the conversation over on Reddit.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.